Okay, we'll now start chapter 7, which deals with cash. And you guys, we've talked about a cash account in the general ledger quite a bit throughout the course, ever since chapter 1. And I generally think of that account as being tied to a checking account at the bank. Most businesses do have a checking account, but they might also have some other cash accounts. In all of those different general ledger cash accounts, you could have a checking account, maybe a savings account, possibly petty cash, which is cash we just keep in a box back behind the, locked away somewhere. I was going to say behind the counter, but it wouldn't have to be behind the counter. That we buy small ticket items out of. So if we want to buy a box of Staples, we might get some money out of petty cash, go buy a box of Staples instead of writing a check for $2. So you really don't want those small checks out there. It costs something to write the check and process the check. So you can understand you don't want to write them for $1.30 or something like that. So we pay those items out of petty cash. Well, petty cash would have a general ledger account as well. We might keep $300 or $400 there, maybe more, depending on the size of the business. So altogether, a business could have a cash checking account that they operate out of. They could have a payroll checking account, maybe a savings account, and also maybe petty cash. And each one of those accounts would have a different general ledger account. So there'd be one for cash checking, one for cash checking payroll, one for cash savings, and one for petty cash. But on the balance sheet as cash, we would add the ending balances of all four of those together to get our cash number. I hope that makes sense, because they all are cash. The one we're going to look at, though, here in chapter 7, a little more in depth, is one almost every business has. And if you're going to own your own business, it's a really good idea to open a business checking account, deposit all the cash you take into that account, pay all your bills, purchase all your assets out of that account, make all your transactions out of that account, and that way you have something the CPA can make you a set of financial statements out of, at least. Now, I'm sure most of you all have a checking account, if not all of you. And if you do, anytime you can check a balance with a debit card or look online for the balance. But once a month, either through email or in the regular mail, the bank will send you out a bank statement. Now, if you're doing this for a business and you're keeping records of cash as you go, or updating cash as you go, we'll also have a balance for the cash checking general ledger account. Now, the balance in our cash account in the general ledger associated with this checking account and the balance on the bank statement itself, they usually don't match. This is a review for some of you. I'm sure some of you are really familiar with this, but let's go through it. The balance on the bank statement and the balance for cash in the general ledger are usually different. And there are some reasons why those two balances could be different. And we're about to talk about those. And at the end of every month, we want to prepare what's called a bank reconciliation. We want to find out the reasons why the bank's balance is different from our balance. You might hear my dog whining in the background. Let me check on her. I'm sorry, I'm trying to make some of these at home on Veterans Day, and my dog's not cooperating, really. I hope it's not too much of a disturbance. Let me go talk to her, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, that could settle her down for as much as 2 minutes. You guys probably know what it's like. I've got one 8-year-old dog, and one that's only one. The 8-year-old's a pleasure, and the 1-year-old drives me nuts sometimes. But anyway, we're trying to determine why, at the end of the month, we've got a balance in our cash checking account, in the general ledger. We'd have one, like I said, a general ledger account for each type of cash account we have, but let's say this one's our cash checking account that we operate out of. It's going to have a balance on the end of the month. Let's say October 31st, 2015. We'd show a balance in that general ledger account for cash. We'd also have one on the bank statement. Generally, those two are going to be different. Now let's look at some reasons why. You guys, there are really two reasons for differences in the bank statement balance and the general ledger cash balance for the account we're dealing with. The first one, these are broad categories, but the first one's timing differences. And what we mean here, maybe you got two different parties keeping up with this balance, the business and the bank. Sometimes, or almost every time, one of those parties is going to know about a transaction first and record it first. And then the other party is delayed in recording the transaction. Either they don't know about it yet or they haven't recorded it yet. For instance, if a business writes a check, they'll deduct it from their balance immediately. The bank, though, they won't know to deduct it from their balance until later on when the check processes and goes through the bank. So that creates a timing difference in the bank's balance and the business's cash balance. There are other timing differences as well. If you go through a drive-through on Friday and make a deposit for your business, let's say it's late in the afternoon, you might go ahead and add that to your general ledger balance that day. However, the bank might not add it in until Monday. It's a little better now than it was at one time, but see, there's another timing difference. Timing differences, though, you guys, they're not a big deal for us. We're not really stressing timing differences because, as the title implies, in time, the differences will work themselves out. Eventually, all the checks will process through the bank. Eventually, all the deposits will process through the bank. And there are some other timing differences we'll talk about in the problem. And the second thing that could create a difference in the bank statements balance and the cash balance on the business's records would be an error made by either party, either an error by the depositor, which would be the business, or an error made by the bank. And that's the reason we're going to prepare that bank reconciliation I mentioned to you earlier. That's the reason we do it every month. We're not worried about timing differences. Like I said, they'll work themselves out. We just want to catch errors that either we, the depositor, made or that the bank made. And you guys, it's really our responsibility to catch both. Usually with a bank statement, it'll say something like, it's assumed to be correct unless you notify us otherwise within so many days. Now, they might help you out anyway, but it's your duty to catch errors that you make as a depositor business, and it's your duty to catch errors made by the bank. Now, an error, you guys, is just a mistake, right? So it could go either way. As a depositor, we might add too much to our cash balance, or we might not add enough. We might deduct too much, or we might not deduct enough. Same thing could happen at the bank. We might make a deposit, they might not add enough to our balance, or they might add too much. Say we deposit $500, they might only put in $50. Or we deposit $500, they might put in $5,000, right? Or we could send a check through the bank for $100. The bank deducts only $10, or the bank deducts $1,000 instead of the correct amount, $100. So the errors could be made by either the bank or the depositor. But as the depositor, it's our responsibility to catch errors that go either way. Now, if we made the error, we'll correct it in our books. If the bank made the error, then we need to notify them. So these two reasons for differences in the bank statement balance and the general ledger cash balance, those are the reasons why we do the bank reconciliation. A lot of people call it balancing the checkbook. we want to make sure the balances are equal. And when we take into account all the timing differences and correct all the errors, we can usually equal the amount, or we can equal the amount. And catching the errors is really our main objective. Okay, you guys, there are also two sections on the bank reconciliation. We'll start with either the bank's balance, make adjustments and work our way to an adjusted balance, or we could start with a general ledger cash balance and work our way to an adjusted balance. It doesn't matter which one we do first, we're going to do both. Okay, so in this case, I started with cash balance according to the bank statement. You guys, we would have a column out here for numbers. I'm not going to put the numbers in. This is just a shell, kind of what we were, formula, if you will, for preparing the bank reconciliation. So you could start with a cash balance according to the bank statement. All right, then we're going to have some adjustments we want to make to the bank's balance. First, we want to take out the effect of any timing differences. So we want to add or deduct. It just depends on what we're dealing with. Add or deduct any timing differences, such as outstanding checks. That would be checks written by the depositor that haven't yet cleared the bank. So the depositor has deducted them from their balance. The bank has not deducted them from theirs. So from the bank statement balance, we would deduct outstanding checks. Or late deposits. Well, we make a deposit and a night deposit. We might add it to our balance that night. The bank might not add it to theirs till the next day, or maybe even the next day. So to get the two balances to equal out, we'd have the depositor has already added the deposit to their balance. We need to add it to the bank's balance to get the two to match or reconcile. Okay, now the bank could make errors, and those errors could go either way, like we talked about earlier. So we would want to, in our bank reconciliation, correct any bank errors. If they deducted too much, we'd have to add some back to their balance. If they did not deduct enough, we'd have to deduct some from their balance. When we tally all that up, that brings us to our adjusted balance. Well, that's the first section. It doesn't have to be done first. We could do the next section first, like I said, but there's one section out of the way. In the next section, we'll start with a cash balance according to the depositor's records, or the cash balance from the general ledger, right? The general ledger would be the records of the depositor, of course. Okay. Then we would want to add or deduct any timing differences in this section, such as bank service charges. You guys, with a bank service charge, the bank deducts it from their balance when they prepare the statement. A lot of times the depositor won't know how much it was and won't deduct it from their balance until they receive the bank statement. So that creates a timing difference. Now, these timing differences are where people get confused. You've got timing. If it's an error by the bank, it's an adjustment to the bank's balance. As you're going to see, we're also going to add or deduct any errors by the depositor. Okay, so if it's an error by the depositor, it's an adjustment to the depositor's balance or the business's balance. With the timing difference, it'll be an adjustment to the party's balance that found out about the transaction second. Like up here, outstanding checks. The business knows about them and deducts them first. The bank finds out about them second. They're an adjustment to the bank's balance. A late deposit. The depositor that makes a night deposit, they know how much it was, and they could go home and add it to their balance immediately. Although the bank, they know about it second, they'll add it later. It's an adjustment to the bank's balance. A service charge, though, the bank knew about it first. They'd already included it in this balance. Depositor didn't know about it, though, till they received the statement, so they probably wouldn't deduct it until then. That's where you need some practice probably is with the timing differences. The errors, they're easy to know where to put them. You have to look at which way the error went, but again, if it's an error by the depositor, it's an adjustment to the depositor's records. Error by the bank is an adjustment to the bank's records. Now we'll total these up in this section, and our adjusted balance here should match our adjusted balance here. And that's the amount for cash that we'd want to show on the balance sheet. Or that, along with the added together with the balances of any other cash accounts we might have. Our business might have this one cash operating account that they pay most things out of, and then one checking account just that they only use for payroll. But like we said, we'd add the balances of all those accounts up, or the adjusted balances of all those accounts up, to get our amount for cash to go on the balance sheet. Okay, you guys, in the next video, we'll look at a problem working a bank reconciliation. Thanks.